Hey, how are you? Um, I did say yesterday that I wouldn't give another update about Concerta until my dose increases on the weekend, unless I noticed anything significant. And so yesterday, day 3, I'd taken the tablet just just before I did the video. Got to work, and within about half an hour. Unusually these days, my fingers, it is a very cold environment we work in, and yes, we have gloves, were struggling massively to the point where they go numb, and I can't feel what we need to be doing. I can't feel the buttons on the tech, but at the same time, my fingers are really painful. I then noticed a couple of times that I was getting a little bit irritable. So irritability is one of the possible side effects in the early stages of taking Concerta, something I hadn't experienced the day before a Sunday. And I thought, interesting. Then I started to get a headache, and then I started to feel a bit dizzy. In order to try and sort the blood flow to my fingers out, I decided that I would up my pace a bit, but I didn't have the energy to do that. And then I began to feel a little bit low about that, and wondering how long these side effects would last on me and settle down, because you have to keep taking the medication, where you get to a point where you're not hopefully experiencing any side effects, and things become balanced out. And it got to a point where I was going to consider going to the boss and say, can't do it today, mate, I just can't do it. And I decided to press on a little bit longer, and then it just felt worse. So I then began to sort of think about it. How much had I eaten over the last 36 hours? Very little. How much had I had to drink over the last 36 hours in terms of hydration? Very little. Both of which are very unusual for me, particularly when I'm working. And then I realised that the issue with my fingers was likely caused by not having enough hydration in my system. It is a known thing. And then I realised that irritability, headache, dizziness are also associated with being not hydrated and not having sufficient fuel in your system, so that you end up experiencing a drop in blood sugar, which can obviously affect your energy and your mood. So then I asked if I could nip out, have something to drink on kind of an extra unofficial break. Nipped out, had some water, and just had a hot chocolate out of the machine for a bit of a sugar boost. And I know it's not particularly nutritious, but there you go. And after a pretty unpleasant 2.5 hours or so, it was all good. My hands were back to normal. I was feeling fine. At lunchtime, I had a normal sized meal, normal for normal people, still on the smaller side for me, but I was able to eat it. It wasn't too much of a struggle, because Concerta can suppress your appetite. And for the afternoon, I was okay until about 2 o'clock. Then I could feel that slump again, and so I nipped out again, 3 or 4 little cups of water, another hot chocolate, and was okay until about 3, and then I just felt tired. Luckily, yesterday, all the work that we needed to do was done by just after 3, and we were offered, if we wanted to, that we could go home. We didn't have to, because we don't get paid if we go. and I grabbed that opportunity. So I do talk about the good stuff, I talk about the bad stuff, the ugly stuff, and the lessons and the learnings. And yesterday I had a harsh lesson. So because my hunger had been suppressed, and I think because a lot of my focus has been on enjoying the fact that I can focus on things, my attention is much better. I'm calmer, nothing going on in there. I feel more confident, I'm more focused, because I'm not hungry and I hadn't put a schedule in place. I hadn't been eating anywhere near enough and not hydrating myself anywhere near enough. So that's what went on yesterday. They do warn you about this when you get your diagnosis. I've known about this stuff for years. I've spoken about this stuff in mental health videos about the importance of a decent diet and being properly hydrated. And yet I still made that mistake yesterday. So lesson learned. And once I came away, lots of hydration, and then in the evening had a reasonable sized meal. Kind of had to force myself a bit at the end, but you've got to fuel the machine. And this morning, a slightly larger amount to eat before I took the tablet. Again, not particularly hungry, but you have to. So plenty of fluid again this morning. So hopefully today things will not be as difficult as they were yesterday, because that wasn't very nice. And as I say, you are warned that you need to do this. You're not necessarily warned about what might happen if you don't. Now, I was sent numerous emails after being diagnosed, and I decided this morning, once I'd taken my multivitamin tablet, because I hadn't until today. I used them a while ago, then stopped. I thought, oh, just take one of those. Then I read up on the vitamins. So additionally, if there are, and I'm not suggesting this is what went on yesterday, I think it was just the fact that I hadn't eaten properly, lower levels of vitamin D within you, your mood is lower and there's more lethargy, which is two of the things I was feeling yesterday. So the funny thing was, at lunchtime, once I'd realised what was going on and done something about it, hopped onto Facebook, and Binky had put several comments under the post I put up yesterday. One of them, and to paraphrase, was along the lines of, be very careful because it's very easy to go hypoglycemic, which is low blood sugar. You haven't got enough fuel in your system. That's exactly what I experienced yesterday, and the tiredness I had in the afternoon was the knock-on effect of that having happened. So lesson learned. You don't see, I haven't seen a video of someone who talks about this stuff saying this. They do say you should eat properly and hydrate and make sure you have a eating schedule, because if you're not feeling hungry, just have a schedule. That's something I've put in place now. They don't say what happens when you don't, because it's pretty shit, if I'm honest. But there you go. So this morning I did have a slight headache and a slight dry mouth, but I do think those are not related to dehydration. I had plenty of fluid after work yesterday. I've had plenty this morning, and my wee indicates I am very much not dehydrated. So I do think that is just a small two of the side effects that are known, that you are warned about, but they've gone now. The mouth is just a tiny bit dry, the headache's gone. So there we are. The things you find out the hard way. And it wasn't because on this occasion that Pete thought he knew best. Just went off my radar. I was too busy. I'm in all week. Too busy enjoying this new focus and calmness and confidence. And just because my body wasn't letting me know that I needed to eat and drink. Didn't think to. There we are. So if you're struggling, have a good day. Don't be put off trying this stuff because of what I said. Use what I've said today as a lesson so that you don't make the same fucking mistake as I made yesterday, because it wasn't very nice. So there you are. Have a good one. See you later.